cruising in my lane fast, call it high speed. I've been working hard, yeah, I've been working nightly. If you think you'll win, not likely. I be taking shots, yeah, cold-blooded, icy. Watching numbers grow is what I call sightseeing. In the front row, run it up when they hype me. The following grows, they know how to ignite me. Call me CEO, I've been running right, see. And I ain't playing games, I create my own lane, making pleasure out of pain, turning losses into...
What is up, Steeler Nation? How's it going? It's your boy Daniel J. Welcome back to another Saturday morning sesh, Steelers Sesh with Daniel J., your host, State of the Steelers. Hope everybody's having a fantastic day. It is game day. Time is next day. The next game is upon us. You know, the Pittsburgh Steelers head off to Jacksonville to TIAA Bank and take on the Jacksonville Jaguars tonight. And I'm excited. I'm looking forward to this game. This should be or could be or what looks to be the tune-up game, meaning this is the game that we're going to see majority of the healthy starters play. We're going to get a real glimpse of the 2022 Steelers and what we're going to expect this upcoming season. All eyes are still on the quarterback position, of course. Mike Tomlin came out in his press conference earlier this week and confirmed that Kenny Pickett was going to get some time with the varsity team. And so I've had a couple of days to think about what that means, and I think that potentially we're going to see Kenny Pickett in a lot sooner than anticipated. Initially I had thought that maybe perhaps the Pittsburgh Steelers would start Mitch Trubisky for almost a half, if not a full half, given the fact that all indications up to this point is that he was or is going to be the starting quarterback come week one. I figure he's new to the team. He's new to the coaches. He's new to the players and new to the stadium. You would think, and I would think at least, that the Pittsburgh Steelers would want to get him as much possible time before real games count with the ones. The last game, Mitch Trubisky wasn't playing with the ones. Chase Claypool, Deontay Johnson, Najee Harris, Pat Freiermuth are all out. In fact, I think even Zach Gentry wasn't playing. And so, if the Pittsburgh Steelers were going into live action, a regular season game with all those starters out on the offense, I don't think the fan base or the media would expect the Pittsburgh Steelers to do much. Yet they played fairly decent, and understandably it was a preseason game, vanilla off defense or whatnot. But it's their first in-stadium action, and for it not being all the ones associated with it, in my opinion, I think that they played fairly well. But so a couple of things to look for. Again, the quarterback position. Going back to that, I initially anticipated Mitch Trubisky would play probably closer to a half. However, thinking about what Mike Tomlin said and him saying that he's going to get Kenny Pickett, that is going to get some time in varsity action. That's starting action. So there's a good chance that Kenny Pickett comes in towards the end of the first quarter so that the Steelers can see what he has against a starting defense. The Jacksonville Jaguars they have a mean up front, mean linebackers. They're stout. And so for Kenny Pickett, who has had a history, at least in college, of holding the ball a little bit longer. And last week he took a couple sacks. This is going to be a good tune-up game for him as well, because he's going to be with my anticipation, he's going to be with the starting unit. He's going to have the starting offensive line, but he's also going up against a stout starting Jacksonville defensive line. So this is going to be a good test for him. I anticipate the Steelers getting a real glimpse, and this is being his real opportunity to make a push to be the potential starter come week one. If Kenny Pickett goes into this game and blows it out of the water and just continues to that upward trajectory, then perhaps he can unplace or unseat Mitch Trubisky, which, in my opinion, thinking about this, what has Mitch Trubisky done to guarantee the starting position? He's not started a game for 20 months. He's not last season he was a backup quarterback to Josh Allen. I understand if, what was it, like half a decade ago, he was the, number 2 overall pick, but the NFL is a not, what have you done for me lately type of organization. Mitch Trubisky hasn't done much lately. Now, I think that his experience does give him the upper hand, and what he's done in his accolades in the NFL do, but I don't think that guarantees him the starting position come week 1. And I feel that the Pittsburgh Steelers are a team that's going to put whoever's best suited to make for the team so that they can advance. I've been saying it fairly often and onward that in 2019 was a clear indication of what the Pittsburgh Steelers are willing to do, just while they were in contention for playoff run. The Steelers had a potential heir apparent in Mason Rudolph. They had a first round grade on him when they drafted him. He was a quarterback that had a winning record in the NFL when they benched him. He was a quarterback that had about 6 quarters of bad football, a full game in Cleveland and a half a game in Cincinnati. But prior to that, had a 3-game winning streak, and he was pulled for a camp arm in Duck, a undrafted rookie free agent at the time. And so I don't think that if that leash wasn't that long, then I'm not sure that the leash for Mitch Trubisky is going to be much longer when the person sitting behind them is the heir apparent, is the 20th overall quarterback in the draft, the first round pick, the only quarterback selected in the first round of the NFL draft this past season or past draft. I don't think that leash is going to be long. And so this is going to be a good opportunity for Kenny Pickett to show what he has. And if he does well, I can see that potentially next week he may get the nod. I think he's going to get the nod anyways to be the starter, unless the Steelers want to showcase Mason Rudolph for some kind of trade. But, I see Kenny Pickett playing a lot in this game. I anticipate him maybe potentially coming into the first and playing all the way through the second and most of the third. And then at the end of the game, we'll see Mason Rudolph come in to showcase his skills. And so we've got a couple of comments in the comment section. Ask away, guys. This is the Q&A where I don't only just preview tonight's game, but I also answer some of your questions. So Daniel T. Singh says, so on an honest note, are they going to the playoffs as you see it? I truly do believe so. The defense is strong enough, in my opinion, to make a playoff push. They held up for the weak offense that the Steelers had last season to make a playoff push. And I think that the offensive line's better this season. How much better is yet to be determined, but I do think that they are better this season. And I think that we're going to see some more consistent quarterback play. I wouldn't say better quarterback play, but more consistent quarterback play out of the quarterback position. Ben Roethlisberger, was at the end of his career last season. He had an elbow surgery that was serious a couple of years ago. A lot of folks forget the car accident he had in 2005, or a motorcycle accident he had in 2005. Where he caused some serious damage, not just to his face, but to his knees and stuff. And so those injuries linger on. And as you get older, I can tell you that as a person who's had some serious injuries, and not quite as old as Ben Roethlisberger, but almost, that those injuries sure do linger on a lot longer and hurt in the morning and so on, and the older you get. And so in his age, he was able to do some of the special things at the end of games, because of who he is and the clutch quarterback that he's always been. But the consistency wasn't there throughout a 4-quarter game, throughout 60 minutes of football. And I think that the quarterback play this year is going to be a little bit more consistent and get better as the season progresses. I feel that the quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers starting the season, whether it's Kenny Pickett or Mitch Trubisky, isn't going to be at the prime of or the height of their abilities in the beginning of the season. They're new. They're both new to the team. They're both new to the coaching staff, the players, the surroundings. Perhaps Kenny Pickett has a advantage being not so much new to the stadium and to the fans, since he's played in Pitt, in the collegiate level. But everything else is new to both of these guys, and so I can only anticipate that their play is gonna increase as the season goes on. And so, with that being said, I honestly do see the Steelers making the playoffs. I think they've improved in several of the skill positions as well. The acquisition of George Pickens is huge. I think he's going to push defenses back, and he's going to allow, um, Deontay Johnson to eat Pat Fryermuth to get open over the middle, and more importantly, he's going to allow he's going to allow Najee Harris to get some meaningful carries and get some open looks. Last season, because of the inability of the quarterback position and or because of the refusal or whatever it was of not wanting to push the ball down the field, defenses were playing the Pittsburgh Steelers in a certain way, and it was an aggressive way, close to the line, and playing the short pass and or run, and it wasn't really giving the Steelers any options. And with a quarterback that wasn't able to move to create time for something to happen downfield, or potentially didn't have the arm to throw the ball downfield while somebody was breaking downfield, because majority of the passes that Ben Roethlisberger threw that were above 20 yards were throws that were made quickly, and the decision to make that throw was made before or right at the line at the snap of the ball. And so now that's not going to be the situation. Last season, the Steelers had the toughest strength of schedule going into the season. This year, the Steelers have the third weakest strength of schedule going into the season. And so I really, truly do think that the Steelers are going to have a leg up in the division. Also, the AFC West is stacked, but those guys play each other. Whether, Russell Wilson with the Broncos, Herbert and the Chargers, Derek Carr and with the Raiders, and Mahomes and the Chiefs, and they're stacked, but they got to play each other. So those are 6 games amongst each other that they're going to be playing against that could are toss-up games in my opinion. And so I think that's going to keep the playing field or the amount of games needed to win to get into the playoffs lower. Plus, also, once you get into a situation where, let's just say the Steelers are tied with with record-wise with a LA Chargers, and LA Chargers have a worse divisional and AFC conference record because of the division that they play in than the Pittsburgh Steelers, then the Steelers are going to win that tiebreaker. So it's going to bode the division that the Steelers are in. It's a tough one as well. You have Joe Burrow with the Cincinnati Bengals, who is nursing an appendix, surgery. He's probably going to play week 1, but he's going to be rusty, and it's going to be a good opportunity for the Steelers to show what they got. I think they're going to upset that game. But going back to what I was saying, I truly do think that this season is going to be at least a 10 to 11 game win season for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I think that that's all they need to get into the playoffs, and potentially all they need to get to win the AFC North. Great question. Thank you. Let's see. Hey, Michael O'Malley, how's it going? Let's see. Daniel T says, the reason I'm asking about the playoffs because I always said Brady's was Patriots. So without Ben, it's going to be a reality for the Steelers. Brady's not there no more, but there's Patrick Mahomes now, and all the quarterbacks that are in the AFC West, and Joe Burrow, and when you have Deshaun Watson and you have Lamar Jackson also in the division, those guys don't scare me. Lamar Jackson, he can get around and run around, but he doesn't have anybody to throw to outside of Mark Andrews, and the Steelers have shown to have his number. When it comes to Deshaun Watson, I believe his record as a starting quarterback was no better than Mitch Trubisky's record as a starting quarterback. Now, I know that, there's some context that goes into that and whatnot, but I wasn't impressed with how he performed the one and only time the Steelers played against him. And so, in fact, I was in stadium when the Steelers played against Deshaun Watson and the Houston Texans, the one time that they did get a chance to play. And from what I remember, the only play that was talked about was done in junk time at the end of the game where Hopkins made a crazy catch and laid on the ground. And that was the play where Vince Williams went and laid down next to him. It was an awesome move by Vince Williams. It was funny. But yeah, I'm not afraid of those two guys. Deshaun Watson's not going to play for 11 games. There's a good chance that the Browns are going to be out of contention early. So this season, at least, I'm not too concerned about that. Let's see what else we have. Linda Hankins says, I've been a Steelers fan since the 70s. Mason overall has not been given a fair shake by the staff, and certainly a lot of the fans, I believe, they'll live to regret tossing him out if that happens. I think Mason Rudolph is a great quarterback. I actually wrote an article for Behind the Steel Curtain, and this is a good plug. I'm also a podcast host, guys, for Behind the Steel Curtain. I do an audio-only podcast that airs out every Saturday. The description is in the link, so once we get done here, please go listen to that. But I also write an article here and there for Behind the Steel Curtain, and I wrote one not too long ago indicating that Mason Rudolph was the most hated man in Pittsburgh, and the comment section went kind of crazy, and I don't think they realized they didn't read the article, for one, and two, Mason Rudolph is the most hated man. When he gets on the field and the fans are booing him for just stepping on the field, that's not love, that's not like, that's not dislike, that's hate. When he gets strip sacked for, the left guard getting beat, extremely fast, that's not his fault. And fans to boo him even more. I mean, the booing, okay, you could have, that's possible. All right, boos are there. But to boo Mason Rudolph in that situation, that's hate too. And so one thing about Mason Rudolph that I will say is that I've watched him for several years. I've been a fan of his. I actually have a Color Rush Mason jersey. I thought the game was a little too fast for him early on in his career. I thought that the game could slow down, that he would be a good quarterback. I feel that the only thing about Mason Rudolph that is a negator about him is he kind of stumbles down when the pressure is up, and that also also is in the red zone. So he'll get from the 20 to the 20 and take a lot of time off the play. But it just seems in those pressure situations, he seems to fail a little bit more often than not. Now, he's very safe, very conservative, and he's going to get you out of stadiums. He's not going to lose you games, but he's not also going to have a fourth quarter comeback and win you a game. And so I think Mason's going to be a good quarterback out there. And I really hope that he does do well, whether it's with the Steelers, if he ends up showing himself today and the next preseason game as being the quarterback that's out there. But as far as the comment about not getting a fair shake, that's not entirely true. I mean, he had all the 2019 to showcase his talents. And then he's had this preseason and the preseason before. And this past preseason game, he had the opportunity to showcase what he has. Now, I don't think him going to the third string is actually a demotion. I don't think he's moving from the second string to the third, and Kenny's now the second string quarterback. If you listen to what Mike Tomlin said, the Steelers are unfamiliar with Kenny Pickett, and they want to see what he's able to do. They know what Mason Rudolph has done, and Mitch Trubisky is a familiar person in the NFL. They don't know what Kenny Pickett can do. And so I don't think this is a promotion on Kenny Pickett's aspect as much as an opportunity and an audition. Now, Kenny Pickett got an opportunity last preseason game with the threes. Mason Rudolph's going to have that same opportunity this preseason game. If he can show that he can do at least the same or better, well, he would have to be better because he's wanting to prove he's the guy, and he's been in the organization for 5 years. He should be better. Then this is his opportunity. So I don't think that it's not a fair shake, but the fan base definitely does hate on Mason Rudolph, and it's unfair. In the article that I wrote, I think that there's a few reasons why. The expectations of his play was catapulted when, when the Steelers announced they gave him a first round grade, and he's a third round quarterback, but they announced he gave him a first round grade, and then when his entrance into the NFL, or his debut into the NFL in the regular season, was pretty uncanny, to the same as Ben Roethlisberger's debut. Ben Roethlisberger entered the game coming in for an injured Tommy Maddox, who injured his elbow, and in the second week of the second week of the season. It was the same thing with Mason and Ben. So there's a lot of similarities, and as I put on there, I'm a huge superstitious guy. I'm sure most fans are. I think that the writing on the wall and the signs were out there that Mason was to be the next Ben, and when he didn't show up to be the next Ben, there's a lot of disappointment there. And I think he gets more credit for that than he deserves, so to speak. But great comment, great question. Let's see. Steelers fan says, how do you feel the game's going to go tonight? Well, that's an interesting question. I mean, it's a preseason game. There's going to be more preparation for this game. Coach Tomlin indicated that in his press conference, that there would be more preparation for this game, but it's still not the same as a regular season game. What I'm looking for in this game is looking for like the individual players, the individual game, and seeing how, like for instance, the the individual position battles, the quarterback position, see how that's coming along, see who's coming, see if Najee Harris is going to play. If he does, I only anticipate it probably being a series. I want to see who comes in behind him. I want to see how Jaylen Warren goes up against more varsity players himself. See how he does when you have all pro and Pro Bowl type, defensive players such as Josh Allen coming at him and that can really hit the ball away from him, how he's going to secure the ball, how he's going to play in the game. Those are all questions that I'm really looking forward to seeing. I can't wait to see those things. But I think that the Steelers organization is one that is prepared and one that has a reputation of being a winning organization for a reason. So I feel that the Steelers are going to go in there tonight and take care of business. Whether they win or lose doesn't matter. But I really want to see how they start to perform. I want to see. So apparently, and I've been calling this all off season, that I think that at the left guard position, Kendrick Green has a leg up in this battle, and he's got the start tonight over Kevin Dotson. I want to see that battle. I want to see if there's a change once Dotson comes in with the ones. I want to see if there's a drop off. Those are things that I find that I'm very interested in seeing, that the way the interior offensive line plays. Last game, James Daniels didn't have the best of games. He missed a couple of what looked like some misreads or miscommunication on the line. In fact, the one play where Mr. Trubisky should have been sacked, got out and ran for about 4 or 5 yards. That was on a miscommunication play, and James Daniels allowed the player that he was supposed to be blocking straight in, untouched. And so, yeah, the interior offensive line is something that I'm looking forward to. I don't think that on the defensive side, I'm looking forward to seeing Devin Bush. I want to see him move. I want to see him put his face in the pile. I want to see him attack and tackle some people. He's been under some scrutiny recently, and rightfully so. His play last week was subpar, and then he had some comments that were just questionable. He came out when they asked him if he thinks he's this is his last year, if he'll be with the Steelers next year. He said, the NFL is a business, and we'll see. He'll still be in the NFL. And it's just, not the comment, not the attitude, not the mentality that you want out of somebody who's supposed to be a Pittsburgh Steeler, a top 10 draft pick at that as well. And so I'm super interested in that. I can't wait to see what Devin Bush does. It's put up or shut up, at this point. If he doesn't show what he can do, or he has another poor performance, I anticipate seeing more of Robert Spillane. And to be honest with you, if Bush starts to fail, then I think that the Steelers need to make a splash on defense, whether it's, maybe at the middle linebacker position, if Robert Spillane can't, hold up his end of the bargain when it comes to coverage, or even more so in the outside linebacker position, because, there's TJ Watt, who I anticipate playing probably about one series. Alex Highsmith probably won't be playing. He's been nursing some ribs. So I don't anticipate him playing. So Jannard Avery and Derek Tuska are going to get majority of the snaps. And then a lot of guys that, or frankly, be honest, nobody's going to know their name. And so I think that's an issue. The Steelers play a lot of they use their third outside linebacker a lot. TJ Watt taps himself out because he plays at a certain level, and if he cannot maintain that level of energy, level of performance, he'll tap himself out until he can come back in. Now, he does it in strategic times and whatever, but he does it about 25 to 30% of the game. And also the third outside linebacker position, it's been obvious, or to me at least, where we've seen TJ Watt, Alex Highsmith, and Melvin Ingram on the field at the same time when Melvin Ingram was a part of the Steelers. And so I think that 3 outside linebacker position, or not position, but that 3 outside linebacker formation is something that the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to want to do and implement. And they need another one. I don't like the depth there behind Alex Highsmith and TJ Watt. And so those 2 positions concern me. I know that there's a lot of talk already how the Pittsburgh Steelers have spent so much money on the defense, but that's where the holes are still there and on the offensive line. Now, the Steelers addressed the offensive line in the free agency with Mason Cole and James Daniels. They've addressed the middle linebacker position with Myles Jack, but that's pretty much it from what I remember. I mean, Larry Ogunjobi in the front line, but I'm talking about the middle linebackers and the outside linebacker position. So it's the Steelers need to address these, those 2 positions, in my opinion, and they need to do it before week 1. But let's see. Great question. Great question, Steelers fan. Let's see. Michael Malley says, I can honestly see this team being a playoff caliber team for years to come. We keep adding pieces. I agree. And the thing is, the Steelers still have money to burn, with the salary cap. They can, reconfigure TJ Watt's contract and do some things and make more money and put some more pieces together. I'm excited. I can't wait to see what they do. But I do honestly think that they are on a playoff run. Let's see. What else do we have? All right, guys. Yeah, keep asking away. I'm going to be on here for another couple of more minutes, probably about another 3. And then I will be coming back for a post-game show after the game. So please hit that like and subscribe button and ring that notification bell so that way you get notified of all of our content that we do. I'll be doing a post-game show, a pre-game show, which is what we'll be doing today on Saturdays. But when the season starts and the games are on Sundays, it'll still be a Saturday pregame show. We'll probably have a different, arrangement when the Steelers play on Monday or Thursday night, but or the one Saturday night that the Steelers do play come Christmas Eve against the Raiders. And so, yeah, please hit that like and subscribe button, guys. I'm so close to getting to 500 subscribers. I think we're like 8 away or something like that. So if you're not already subscribed, please hit that subscribe button. We give away game tickets. We've already gave our tickets for this regular season game this year to Alex. Congratulations, Alex. He won 2 tickets to see the Steelers against the Jets. The Steelers make a playoff run and host a playoff game. We'll be giving away 2 more tickets to a playoff game to a lucky subscriber. And the only thing you got to do is be a subscriber. Also, guys, again, just a reminder, I'm the newest audio-only podcast host on Saturday for Behind the Steel Curtain. And so I just my podcast aired this morning. It's in the description. Talks about quarterback position, Devin Bush, Omar Khan, and why the Steelers may or may not trade Mason Rudolph. And the title of the show is The Steelers Future is Now, or The Black and Gold Future is Now. Don't want to miss it. You go and watch that, and wherever you find your podcast, Apple, Google, Spotify, the whole 9 yards, just search up Behind the Steel Curtain. They're the one-stop shop for Steelers news and coverage. And so, you guys I'll be back this evening. With that being said, guys, I'm going to go ahead and let y'all go. I really appreciate everybody in the live chat that chimed in and had some questions. I'll see you guys tonight. With that being said, guys, I'm Daniel J. This is State of the Steelers. Peace.